Welcome to another video from Gweilo 60. I'm sitting on a random street here in Nanning, China, and the topic of the day is small business. It thrives in China, and the reason why that is everybody in China wants to own their own business. The difference between the West, say I'm growing up in the West and I finish high school, not going to university. My next thing is to get a job. Well, that's the way we look at it. In China, they look at it a little differently. What they want to do is they want to start their own business. So when you think of a Chinese person moving to, say, Canada or the United States, their first inclination is not to get a job, but to set up a Chinese restaurant. Maybe to get a job in a Chinese restaurant and then set up their own restaurant. They need to get grounded. But it's because every person in China, well, not every person has a business, but the number of people, the percentage of people owning their own businesses per capita in China is fairly high compared to anywhere else I've ever seen. You know, and the reason is that they can set up little stores that just sell one thing. And because they have so many people coming by, like this one just sells little toys and whatever. And it's just in a little thing. This one here, this one sells clocks. Isn't that neat? A little business that only sells clocks. In the West, if you were just to do that, you'd be bankrupt the first week because there's not enough people buying clocks in the West to make a business like that work. You know, but all of these little shops, they all sell sort of specific things. And because the population is so high, because the population is so high here and they have so many people walking by their front door that they can actually make a go of it and make a living for a family. This one sells little kid strollers, little bikes for the little kids to sit on. They just tie them on there. But if you notice that each of these little shops is owned by a family that probably rents a spot, and this goes on and on and on. And this is common in China, and this is just a random stop that I made. So this one's probably run by this little old guy here, you know. This one sells things to drink out of. Man, that would never make it in Canada. You just stop at a Walmart and buy one of those for $2. You see, the larger malls in China, as anywhere else that I've ever seen, are reserved for businesses, corporations that have brand names and such. So, like, if you're not a My Watch or an Adidas or a Levi's or Prada, Gucci, whatever, you don't get a spot in one of these larger malls in China. This one isn't a very large mall, but if you're just one of the little ma and pa operations, they won't rent you in one of these places. So you're back to those little small spots on the street. Or you could rent a whole bunch of small spots on the same street to make your ma and pa operation a little bit bigger, and there's a lot of them like that here. When you get into the larger malls like the parks and whatever here in China, it resembles a lot like the Western world. So this is the more, I guess, modern China, where you've got all of the name brand stores and everybody's working for the corporations and paying high prices for their rental properties, and it's not to feed their family, it's to feed the corporation. As you can see, Adidas, Converse, and Nike are alive and thriving in China because they're in the big mall with Walmart, yes. And then you get about a block away from the big guys and you're back into these small little roads that China's known for. It's part of the culture that probably in 20 years isn't going to be around anymore because everywhere I look, all over the city of Nanning, they're tearing this stuff down and building brand new high rises, high end shops, you know, all of the stuff that isn't the real China, and it's sort of sad to watch. And they'll set up little businesses right on the street, fixing bikes. You know, it's a way to make a living. Air compressor and a couple tools, and you're in business. See, there's lots of things in downtown Nanning. It's not just the e-bikes and the stores, it's the little eateries, the places to stop and get Taiwan tea or gongcha, or, you know, different types of foods. And because the weather here is so nice, especially this is November, it's perfect outside. Beautiful weather. So you can sit outside in the afternoon, as these people are doing, and drink some tea, have something to eat, talk, you know, in beautiful weather. Downtown Nanning is not only a big commercial area, but it's actually a nice place to sort of hang out and eat and drink. Now all they need is a bar on the street, and I'd be happy. And then you get a street like this, and then there's side streets to even the small streets. And everywhere down these side streets are little businesses, and you know, and I'm walking through a place where I've never been, but because we're in China, I don't feel like there's any problems at all. Well, maybe I do, because it looks like a hooker alley, so I better not go down there, or else I might lose some money. So that was just the wrong alley to go down. I'm going to do a video about that one of these days, but this isn't going to be the video. This video is about small business and how the Chinese do small business the best. You know, they make a little spot, any nook and cranny that they can rent, and they turn it into a little convenience store, a little buffet, you know, selling cosmetics to selling soup. It's amazing how they can make a living out of just any little spot. And that's another video from Gweilo 60. If you like this video, like, comment, subscribe, push that share button, and every once in a while you look behind me and there's people looking over my shoulder, and that's just the way it is. Like this guy in the green, he just spit all over the place, but that's just the way it is. This is China. And as you can see, all through the downtown core of Nanning City, it's e-bike parking on every street, and you've got somebody watching them. So it's as I say, it's an RMB per bike. So they're making a killing, because there's got to be 100,000 bikes here. 100,000 RMB, that's $20,000 a day just parking just bikes, which is a pretty good deal as far as I'm concerned. I should get a job looking after bikes.